Some silent sky, love sings a silver song, making the air whirl softly. Love makes the world go round. I wonder how you're feeling. There's ringing in my ears, and no one to relate to except the sea. Who can I believe in? I'm kneeling on the floor. There has to be a force. Who do I fall? The stars are out and shining, but all I really wanna know, I want you. Show me the way every day. I want you. Show me the way. When I can see no reason, you're living on your nerves. When someone drops a cup and I submerge, I'm swimming in a circle. I feel I'm going down. There has to be a fool to play my part. Was someone thought of healing, but all I really wanna know, I want you. Show me the way every day. I want you. Show me the way every day. I want you. Day after day. Yeah. I wonder if I'm dreaming. I feel so unashamed. I can't believe this is happening to me. I watch you when you're sleeping, and then I wanna take your love. I want you. Show me the way every day. I want you. Show me the way one more time. I want you. Day after day. Hey. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When I feel afraid, think I've lost my way, still you're there right beside me. Nothing will I fear as long as you are near. Please be near me to the end. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will not forget your love for me, and yet my heart forever is wandering. Jesus, be my guide, hold me to your side, and I will love you to the
No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blessed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning. So you read in the bulletin that today is trick or treat. Well, I am not Tracy. So I'm Reverend Mary. Reverend Tracy had a personal emergency this morning. And so we're going to do a little impromptu and play together a little bit. So welcome to everybody and to, this is Claremont Center for Spiritual Living, where we are part of the International Centers for Spiritual Living, whose vision is a world that works for everyone. So we truly know it's working for us today because we're here, right? So playing with us today is our practitioner, Diane Clemens, our wonderful Jeff, and we have today with us Tina Meigs. Woohoo! How lucky are we? So I'm going to light a candle if the lighter is here. Yeah, here it is. And we'll light our candle today for releasing in trust, knowing that everything's in divine right order and all is well. All righty. So let's just bring ourselves together. Get comfortable. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, but take a deep breath either way. And release the morning. Taking another deep breath, we release everything for this afternoon and the week. And taking our third deep breath, we bring ourselves as we release to this center place where we know all is well.
And in this sacred space, let us all know together, all is well. There is one power, one heart, one presence. There is one life, one mind. I call it God. I surrender in this moment, and I know all is well. For all is love and peace and joy. And this is my life, and it is your life too. It is the life of each one of us. We are open wide and available and doing the work of the Most High. We are compassion, seeing the face of God wherever we go, doing the work of God, caring, sharing, loving generously, being a spirit-filled center, for all is well. So I know in this awareness, we are all blessed in this day. We are always blessed at our work, our play, at school. And at this church service, we are especially blessed to be able to sit in the sacred center. For we bring the truth with us, and miracles show up. Spontaneous love blooms. Peace profoundly shows up wherever we go, because it is in us, as us, and we take it wherever we go. All is well. I am grateful and thankful, and I allow this to be, and so it is. For our reading today, I took from Ernest Holmes a little book called Ideas of Power. And Ernest Holmes affirms the predictable cause of nature. He says it's the predictable nature of creative thought, and he describes it very simply. The law of attraction and repulsion works with the same mathematical invariableness, with absolute immutability, with exactness. Whatever a man thinks, that will happen to him. Pure and simple. What you think about, you bring about. So think good thoughts today. Let us rely on the law to turn our thought into things. Let us also curate our thoughts to ensure they lead us with greater love and wholeness and peace and joy for ourselves and our world. And so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Wonderful time of year. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the colors of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The river and the rainstorm are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or at the eagle tell you where he's been? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. Or ever tell the eagle where he's been. You can paint with all the colors of the mountain. Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? You can own the earth and still all you'll ever own until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Oh my gosh. Sends chills up you. That's it. It's just, Tina, thank you. That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, today is something different. And last week we talked about production. This week we're going to talk about something a little different in the next step. So I can wave my good and it won't come back. I can wave my good all over the place, practice till I'm blue in the face, and be a big disgrace in the spiritual case, because my good won't come back.
You gotta throw your good for it to come back.
Oh. So last week we talked about production in the law of circulation, and I told you we'd talk about receiving, but there's next, but there's something in the middle, right? We create, and then we have to send it out into the world. And I think a boomerang is a good metaphor for releasing, because as Jeff just said, often we go, I'm a good person, right? I'm a really good person. I do this and I do this, and golly, I did this all day long. Yesterday I was at the Kindness Carnival from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I do all of this, and when's it going to come back? Well, we have to let it go. We have to release our good. So we're going to play a little bit today because I'm kind of taking some notes of different things. Ernest Holmes tells us that the ordinary individual sitting down to give a treatment to his business unconsciously does just the thing that he should have avoided. And then he wonders why he did not get the desired results. Most people simply wish or long for. They may even have a great desire, but they just keep waving it. We can do the steps in our treatment. We can do step 1, we recognize God. And then we move into uniting with that spirit within us and around us, uniting with that all wisdom, that all prosperity, that all abundance. But what happens is we don't really get there. And then we move to step 3 and say, but what I really want is, okay, I got done with those 2 steps. Now what I really want is. But if we don't get to that point where we really unite, and what happens when we really unite with the spirit within us? We move into faith, right? The faith that we are really one with the divine. And we move into trust. If we have not moved into trust and faith in our oneness, there's really not much point in moving on and saying what we want. That's what Ernest Holmes was talking about, that we wish for, we long for, but we haven't stepped into it. We haven't stepped into that flow. So we're going to talk, just like last week, a little bit about our consciousness of this flow and the financial, the money part, because, home office says once in a while you got to talk about money. And the purpose in doing this is to recognize again that everything is sacred, including our money, including our shoes. It's all sacred, right? It's all sacred. So if we recognize that and we put it all into that divine sphere, that circle up there is really not a finite circle. It should be more like a sun and radiate, because everything is within it. Everything. So we're going to talk about waving this. Now, one of the things is when we talk about doing this, and the big point that Jeff made, well, first you got to throw it. Deepak Chopra calls that the law of detachment, right? And first time I heard about this law of detachment, I thought, no way. I'm not detaching from the people I love and the things that I want to do and that kind of thing. But what he really means by detachment is trying to control it all, trying to hold on. We have our children, right? And we raise our children. But when they get to be 50 and 60 years old, are we still trying to control what they're doing? And our other loved ones, are we still trying to control it all? If I were to throw a boomerang, and I had a string attached to it, would it be released out there in the world and would it come back to me, as we say, tenfold? No. But how often do we attach strings when we send out our good? Well, I'm doing this, but I expect. You know, they say there's the law of reciprocity, but I was looking that up in the dictionary and it said reciprocity is an exchange. You know, we can exchange, you know, I'll give you this, or you give me that. But that's a very limited activity. You know, in money, they say there's debt, you know. You give me this and I'll owe you this much or I'll pay you this much. But then you can move into what they call leveraging, and I can grow that. I can make something bigger. And it's releasing that expectation of what comes back, how it comes back, but trusting that whatever comes back is going to be wonderful, amazing. And why? Because it's the divine universe that sends it back rather than just an exchange. Right? So in this law of circulation, it's more of a linear thing. You know, the symbol up here, you know, shows kind of a funnel, but I kind of look at it is down and back. And that law of reciprocity, when we talk about it in the spiritual sense, is not an exchange, but it's the divine giving to us through inspiration and intuition, and us giving back to God by expressing the unique spirit within ourselves. So it's not just a V, it's a direction, a giving, and a giving back. And as we know, we can't outgive God, so what we give back is not exactly what God gave us, right? It's different, it's beautiful, it multiplies, it shifts, and it changes. All different kinds of things come out of that. So when we're letting go, do we, to give some examples of how we can let go with strings. You know, there's that old story of, you know, the parent that gives their child a bicycle for Christmas. Wow, you know, and the child is just ecstatic. It's, you know, brilliant red racing bike. And the child is just ecstatic, you know, for about 15 minutes until the parent says, now, you better be careful with that bike. And I don't want it to see knocked over out there in the yard. And if you take it anywhere, you need to lock it up and you need to not leave it and you need to clean it and you need to do this. And what have we just done? And often we do that in our heads, you know, when we give a gift of ourselves or something else, we think, now that person's going to appreciate me better. I'm pretty darn good and they're going to really respect me and they're going to give me this and they're going to do this and they're going to, and guess what? They don't. And we get really sad. Woe was me. Yep. Really sad, you know, how come, you know, nobody ever takes care of this and nobody realized how much work I did and nobody, you know, gets my gift for as great as it is. So while the law of giving is Deepak Chopra's second law of success, spiritual success, law 6 is the detachment. And he says, in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. It doesn't mean we don't love our family. It doesn't mean we don't love our kids. But they're just ours to share with, to give. They are other people, other things. And when we release a gift, it's like Reverend Pat, for those who remember, she used to say now, and she used to do this. She'd take the earrings off her ears if you admired them and put them in your hand. And maybe somebody had given them to her. But she said, it's, once they're mine, and I can give them to whoever I want. And if you don't like them or you want to do something else, you can turn around and give them to somebody else, because you can release your attachment to that. And why I'm talking about this today, and I think this is really important, is because I think this is one of the hardest things that we have to do, is to release our expectations and our feelings of obligation. Because it goes both ways. Sometimes I think we don't like to receive, or we have a hard time receiving because we feel we have an obligation to give back, rather than allowing someone to just give and knowing how good it feels for them to give. And how open we are to receiving makes them feel even better. So it's in that opening, that just releasing our expectations. And there's a couple of things about, so I'm going to switch over before I go back into conscious. I'm going to switch over, talk about what we do with our money and how we do it and what the money is about. So money itself is potential. Now, you could hide it under your pillow like people used to do. And sometimes people still do. They, hide it under the carpet, put it in a box in the wall or something. And what good does that do? Over a number of years, it just devaluates, doesn't it? It becomes less and less. And it has done no good for anybody or anything. Now, we all believe in savings accounts because that's good stewardship, because we know things are coming up, things that are surprising and we wouldn't at first decide is good, but there's also good things that are coming up. There's opportunities for vacations and concerts and spending time with friends and things like that. So we should be good stewards with our money, but to just stick it under a pillow or hoard it that way is not something. And consciously to take whatever good, whatever talents we have and stuff them away because we're not sure it's good enough. We're not sure that my expression, is it as good as this person? Is it not as good as this person? And maybe I should just kind of hide in the background. And when I first started coming to Science of Mind, I sat in the back row for years because I thought, well, I don't know anything about this. I'm just as unworthy, worm of the dust person, and I don't really have anything to give. For years, and until I started taking classes. So that is not, and there's the song, hide it under a bushel. No. So consciously, we don't want to hide ourselves under the bushel. In life, in that everyday life, we don't want to hide under a bushel. I remember one time in this center right here, sitting right about where Peter is sitting there, I came into church one day and I had shared before the service started about something that Tom had done the night before, telling me how I needed to express myself better. And Tom is a very funny guy and did it. And after a couple bottles of wine that the two of us had that Saturday night, it was so funny. I about fell off my chair on the floor. It was so funny. But when we came in and Dr. Pat was doing her talk and she said, "Isn't that right, Mary?" And I had to get up and do this funny thing in front of the whole place, about being worthy and being proud of who I am. And I was scared to death. and I was going, of being a fool. You know, am I a fool or or what? You know, and am I being going to look like a fool in front of everybody, look like a clown, or am I going to wimp out? Am I going to look like a fool or I'm going to look like a wimp? Which one? Well, nobody ever called me a wimp, so I did it. I was so embarrassed. And guess what? Everybody identified. Everybody. It happened to be the annual meeting Sunday. You know, wouldn't you know? Everybody can identify not standing up for who they are and expressing who they are because they have a fear of rejection, right? But guess what? The world loses every time you don't express who you are. Because no one else can do it exactly the way you do it. No one. So every time that you're not authentic to yourself, that you're not yourself, that you don't just stand there proudly and say, whatever, the world loses a little gem, a little sparkle. So that's what we need to keep in mind, to let ourselves go, because it's just potential inside. You know, it's like the electricity in the wall. If you don't turn on the switch, what good does it do? Not much. Except for maybe someday you could have an electrical fire, and that's what happens to us in our gut, right? When we don't express who we are, we sort of explode inside. Okay, so money is also fluid, just like our consciousness. So we're talking about putting it out there, releasing the boomerang, you know, making those choices where we want to release it. And yes, there are choices about everything, but then do it without going, oh no, what did I just do? Gosh, you know, what are they going to think of me? He's going to think this, and then she's going to say that, and then someone's going to do. We let it go. We let it be fluid. In trust again. In trust and faith. As I was saying last week too, that there's this law of radiation, or this mirror in front of us. That what we send out reflects back. And I know some of us have strange thoughts about money. You know, money corrupts, money is dirty, money is evil, rich people are evil. The thing is, money's not evil. Some people do bad things, and they use it to do bad things. But actually, all money really does is magnify who we really are. If you have $10 and you hide it under your pillow, nobody's really going to notice, not even you. You'll forget it's there. But if you have $1,000 or $1 million and you put that under your pillow, it makes a big difference. And conversely, if you take that and use it, send it out into the world, making choices, conscious choices of how it's to be used. Does it go to charity? Does it go to tithing? Does it go to my family? It magnifies who you are because it's going with your energy and your choices, right? So when we do send out our good, we want to watch what's going on in our consciousness. What is my intention? What is my attitude at this point? Because just like the child with the bike, what happens is it goes with that energy, and the thing itself, whether it be a dollar bill or a bicycle or whatever, the thing itself gets long forgotten over a period of time. But the intention and the attitude never gets forgotten. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, really. You know, it just gets passed along, passed along. So those are some important things to remember about the money aspect of what we're talking about today. When we are throwing our boomerang, we need to know what our intention is, where it's going, what we want to do with it, right? Because it makes a difference on which boomerang. Now, I have different ones, okay? I have lots of different ones. You can see, yeah, I got into playing with these things. So there's this cardboard one, and you know, I can kind of handle this, and there's certain ways to do it. And just like we know with throwing a boomerang, there's certain techniques, right, that are going to make it come back. So there's certain intention. When an Aborigine, when that first song first came out, and they used the boomerangs to get their dinner, right? And the first thing they would teach them is keep your eye on the intention. Not on what you're doing right here, but keep your eye on your intention. We talk a lot about that in Science Mind. You know, what's my attention on? My attention should be on my intention rather than, you know, all this stuff around here. And sometimes it takes practice. You can go, well, in this area of my life, I do pretty good. So with this cardboard thing, I can kind of, and I almost came back, right? So I haven't practiced much lately. So, and I'm not going to throw some of the rest of these. This one I can kind of do in the yard, and this foam one I can kind of do in the yard, but I won't throw it. The cardboard one wouldn't hurt anybody. But so I can handle these. Last time I threw this little plastic one, everybody ducked. So I won't throw it, you know. So different ones of these require different intention. And you take baby steps, you know. I have these little foam things, and I can kind of do that, and they all come back, you know. So I'm pretty good at the baby steps. So we have to learn, and maybe we want to take one first baby step on paying attention to what it is that we're throwing out. We talked about that last week and this week, and how I'm sending it out, because they're related. Just like if you throw a wooden boomerang, which, you know, last time I tried that one, I hit a car, so I'm not doing that one anymore. So it's meant for a big open parkway. So it makes a difference on what we send out and how we send it. To get ourselves sometimes into the right perspective, we might need to meditate on it once in a while. You know, how come this aspect of my life isn't working? You know, this other stuff works, and I'm receiving all my good in this other aspect. Maybe relationships. My relationships are perfect, but my money isn't coming. Or, you know, I'm doing pretty well money-wise, but my relationships suck. You know, and what is it? So that's where we need to kind of go back in and kind of check with what is it that I'm sending, and what's my attitude, and what's my intention. Am I doing an exchange with the string attached? You can have this. If I were to take this and say, you know, here, Ingrid, you can have this, but I'm still holding it until she gives me something in my other hand. That's kind of limiting ourselves to that exchange. So we need to use our meditations to ask ourselves, in this area of my life, what is it that's going on? What is it that I'm doing? In that idea of meditation, Joel Goldsmith tells us in The Art of Meditation that the meditation lays the ground for work for effortless, spontaneous, frictionless flow of the pure potentiality. Think about that. Effortless, spontaneous, frictionless flow of pure potentiality, seeking expression from the unmanifest to the manifest. Intention combined with detachment leads us to a life-centered present moment awareness. When we all like to have a life-centered present moment awareness and have that effortless, frictionless flow in our life. Detachment. Excuse me. So, taking all of this together, we talk about what it is that we're throwing, how we're throwing it out, and that's really what we're talking about is where's our intention? Is our intention on creating more love? Creating more love? Or is our intention on getting some for ourselves? Is our intention on creating more prosperity in the world? Or is our intention on getting more for me? So that's kind of what we want to look at today. Is that, and what I want to leave you with, is that idea of where's my intention when I'm releasing. First of all, am I releasing? Number one, am I releasing? Without a string, without holding and waiting for the exchange. So am I really releasing? What is my intention when I release it? You know, where's my kangaroo? What's my intention? Is it for the world or for me? And sometimes you got to do both. And where's my attention? Because sometimes when we have an intention out there, we still keep our attention on how am I holding it? What, you know, who's saying what? You know, all of this stuff that we really don't know. So we make it up, right? How many stories have we made up? Well, if I do this, he's going to do that, and she's going to do that. We don't really know, you know, what we're going to do, much less anybody else, right? So our attention goes on our intention of what we're really detaching and letting go. And then we move into trust. Doesn't that sound like the prayer treatment now? We get that trust. We release, you know, when we say recognition, this is what I want to step into. So it's a realization. They say that third step is really a realization of what already is, because we know our good already is if we're really in faith, right? We know our good already is, especially if we're united with Spirit. So it's just a realization and an acceptance. There's an acceptance in that. You know, I know that God is abundant, therefore I have to be abundant. End of subject, you know, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And then we don't go back and dig it up. We let it go. Right? The last step of our treatment, we let it go. How often do we go and ask for a prayer treatment and then we walk away and going, I hope this works. You know, maybe I need to go ask somebody else, or, you know, I hope it, you know, we just kind of negated the whole thing. So we need to step into that intention and that trust in step 2. Realize that the good is already there and say thank you and move on. So what I'm leaving you with today is that middle step of moving into the trust, setting our intention, putting our attention on the intention rather than what's right here, and allowing it. Trust is just a demonstration of faith, and we cannot say we have faith if we don't trust, right? So we're moving into the trust. We're releasing in trust. all that is good, all that is us. And that's all there is to it. So today we leave knowing that we release our good with trust and love. And so it is. So let's take that into a prayer, right? Okay. So I know that God is all there is. All the wisdom, all the love, all the abundance. And I know that there is nothing outside of God, whether it is as secular as money or as divine as unconditional love. It's all God, everything. And I know that I am part of that allness. That allness of love, that allness of wisdom, allness of abundance, that allness of everything, physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, all of that is divine. And in its divine essence, it's in me. And so right here, right now, in this moment, I accept this truth. I accept that there is a divine flow of grace all around me all the time. And I am constantly being filled, and I am constantly expressing and giving in faith and in trust and in love. I know I don't have to worry about anything. I will always be filled. And so I give freely in this trust. And so I can just rest in gratitude, because I am so blessed. This is the truth, and we let it be so. And so it is.
One second, Joe. All right. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. Don't need no luggage, just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. People get ready for ain't no room for the hopeless who would hurt all mankind just to save their own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, 'cause there ain't no hiding place in the kingdom's throne. So people get ready, there's a train coming. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear that diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle and no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Thanks to Ricky Byers. So people get ready. There's a train coming. Don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. Don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. Keep on. People, get ready. There's a train for Jordan. Don't need no baggage. Picking up passengers coast to coast. And faith is the key. All you do is board, and there's no room for those among whose love the most. Everybody, people, get ready. People, get ready. People, get ready to get on board. All you need is your faith to feel that diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket. Just throw it out there and thank the Lord.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So I'm going to remove all these boomerangs off of our important stuff here. In your bulletin, you have an affirmation, but we're not going to say that one. That was written before we knew I was going to be here, Reverend Tracy. It was around her talk. So we're going to do a nice simple one. And I'll say it first, and then we'll say it together. I release my good in trust and love. Okay, let's say it together. I release my good in trust and love. And so it is. Yes, and so it is. So we have some announcements, and let's see, we'll get to that. Let's see where it was. The one that, while I'm looking for these that I know isn't on here, is the last Sunday of the month, which I believe is October 30th. We're going to have a potluck, sort of a spooky theme. So bring, wear your costumes to church, and we'll have some fun. It's time for fun, right? We'll have some fun and do a potluck. That's the last Sunday. We also have Wednesday night gateway. Oh, thanks, Susie. It's here. So Wednesday night gateway this Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to it. We have our own Ed Graff, who's going to talk to us about first thought. And if you know Ed, just knowing that title doesn't tell you what that first thought might be. It could be just about most anything. So I invite you to come find out what Ed's first thought is. Let's see. We also, our spiritual circles are continuing, and that's going on. And we still, our flowers today are provided by Tammy Gant. Thank you, Tammy. There she is. And the food donation box is out there all the time. So, if you're like me, maybe you need to send yourself a text message or put it on the grocery list to buy a few extra things and then put them in your car or leave them there in the car because you'll forget to put them back in the car on Sunday. So, yeah, anything we can do to help us remember, right? But it's out there and it goes to a really worthy cause. You know, I was at the Kindness Carnival last night, and some of the food drives goes to local families, but the Pomona High School and some of the other high schools, they collect food and personal items and hygiene items for students that don't have that. They come to school hungry and without personal needs. So these things, the food bank, and if you can go over to Pomona High School and drop off some stuff, it's such a word that, can you imagine being 15 years old and not and being hungry, having to get up and go to school or go to work hungry? It makes studying awfully hard and a lot less meaningful. So let's make sure we give to the food bank and give to those other programs. We are all one, as the first song that Tina did. We're many colors, and together we create a rainbow. So I think that's all the announcements. Did I miss anything? Nope. Okay, let's gather in a circle. Up. That's right. I missed a big one, and it's sitting right here in front of you. Thank you. Thank you. Abundance. Yes, abundance. And it's all sacred. So make sure as you hold this that you put your sacred self into it. And whatever intention you have, place that into it. It's a symbol. It carries that energy. And we'll say our affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And now we'll get together. And the baskets are in the back. Rather than coming to you, you can go to the mountain and express yourself.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every walk of life, every creed and color, intention we unite. In honor of the God in each other, we come together. We come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love. Express yourself.